But at the end of the day, if your identity isn't rooted in Jesus and you are grateful for it, well, then vanity's all you got. What do we say, fam? Welcome to Simplexity, a little podcast where we take seemingly complex matters and attempt to make them plain and simple.
What is this voice you got going on
See,
today?
last week I yelled, and this week I thought I'd come in like a little Barry White.
A what?
Like Barry White.
Barry White.
Who is it? Barry White? No,
Betty White. I hope
Hey,
not.
the old school soul R&B. Yeah, my man. You don't know Barry?
I
Hey,
don't know.
for your wedding day, I'm gonna coach you up. Anyway, welcome to Simplexity. Pastor Sammy Foster here with my one and only co-host worth having, Boots.
Hello there.
You got a fresh shirt on today. I like that too.
Thank you.
I've never seen you rock that.
Another Banana Republic find, might I say.
You know what? I have not visited Banana Republic in some time.
No?
Nah.
Oh.
I'm about due for a perusing.
I like them. I'll go there and I'll usually find at least one or two things that I'm like.
Little expensive for my blood.
It's expensive, but they're typically running some kind of,
Sale.
like 40% off,
Yes.
you know.
I like that.
So then it comes down to a reasonable, price.
Totally.
$30 or something.
Let's discuss a matter that's very near and dear to me right now, and it's that which I've been before we get into the subject matter at hand. But that is, speaking of sales, and speaking of costs, hidden fees, and the like.
Oh boy,
I'm trying to build a real segue into this. You know, I have been as of late concentrating on my monthly expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Only to find there is a lot of seep holes in my budget due to the fact that I have gone through my credit card bill only to find when it comes to streaming services, like all these things, by and large, that my kids, we're going to be out on the curb asking people for donations.
Yep.
Because they got 18 Spotify accounts,
oh my gosh,
Amazon Music accounts, every other digital service there is, and man, to shut them down, it's like going to war. It really is. You gotta be like prayed up and stayed up. You gotta have worked out.
Listen, we're moving to Apple Music. I'm sorry.
It has been incredible, but
Because everything's on the subscription model now.
everything,
Even
Boots.
like clothes.
Totally. Oh yeah, you get boxes sent to your
Stitch Fix. I used to do it
Uh-huh.
because it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I just shut down my Hims. That was my finasteride for my hair.
Finasteride.
Yeah. See, I was going bald,
Oh,
but not
come on.
anymore. Shout out. Because of the finasteride. And now
It sounds like
I'm back in play.
it sounds like something you'd get on at Six Flags.
I got it off of
You guys ready
Instagram.
for the finasteride?
But I got my subscription. It's worked out. It's a little topical. Anyway, hey.
Just like our podcast.
Okay, let's get to it. Speaking of which, actually, that would have been a wonderful segue. What are we talking about today, Boots?
We're talking about vanity, not the furniture.
Ooh.
I don't get that.
You know what a vanity is.
Oh.
Why did you laugh if you didn't get it?
Because
You're just used to
We're
me being
losing it
funny,
here.
right?
hey, because I was convinced that was going to be a delayed good one.
Yeah.
And then I
That's
realized.
how it works a lot of times. Is you get it a couple seconds later. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about vanity. How far is too far? Where's the line, etc. Any opening remarks?
Well, I believe that this is arguably one of the most prevalent issues that human beings are sort of inundated with on the daily, unless you just sort of removed yourself from all social influences and forms of entertainment, social media and the like, then maybe this issue of vanity isn't high on your radar. But if you are dialed into any degree of pop culture, what people are doing, even politics. I know that sounds like it would be divorced from, but I think you see this image is everything thing sort of pushed and advocated, celebrated, and then eventually demonized. I'll get into that in a moment. But it is very, very steeped in our culture that we are a very vain people.
Mm-hmm.
There's my opening remarks. Would you like any more?
Sure.
What would you say to that?
I would agree with that. The only thing I was thinking in the midst of it was, what?
No, please, come on.
No, I was just thinking
Balance me out.
it doesn't even need to be balanced other than saying this is part of the human condition. Like, it's not even dependent upon pop culture or...
Yeah.
I think all those things make it worse. And even, to your point about social media, like, as I was driving in today, I'm passing by kids waiting at a bus stop.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to see the number.
Uh-huh.
Like, they're all just staring at their phones. And that's the kind of stuff that they're looking at. But there is something within us that is deeply, or at least can be deeply insecure.
Sure.
And then it latches on to these external ways to compensate for that. I think the things that you just laid out only worsen the problem.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think, like you said, it's not dependent on pop culture or even social media. We are naturally just a very vain people and self-consumed. And a lot of times you could argue we love ourselves. Many times it's disguised because we don't like ourselves. So vanity comes in a myriad of different forms. Nevertheless, we are just that much more inundated by it because of all the avenues that we get to experience it and see it. In eras old, it was that of if you were vain, the only people that knew you were vain were those that you were in close proximity to. Not everybody knew your inside, story, life, behind the scenes. Now everybody's life is put on blast. And willingly and at times unwillingly, it's put on blast. So we are constantly inundated with the vanity of mankind now.
Often willingly, though. Like,
oh,
Hannah,
totally.
so I'm not on TikTok, but Hannah will often show me TikToks that she's like saved for me that she thinks I'll find funny. And
yes.
I often do. That wasn't strong enough. I always do.
There we go.
But I'm always just fascinated by how strange these people are, and like how, oh my gosh, you're putting that on social media. Like, I don't know. It boggles my mind just how strange people will act on the internet and then put it out to the world.
Yeah.
And it's eaten up by the viewers. I do want to circle back to one thing though. You said people, they love themselves, but they often don't like themselves.
Yeah.
How would you delineate that?
It was Jackie Hill Perry, a wonderful, she preaches, she's really, I believe, Jackie Hill Perry, she wrote a book called Gay Girl, Good God. And she spoke about just really her testimony and her story of God bringing her out of a homosexual lifestyle into really just incredibly robust, rich relationship with Jesus. She's now married, has a plethora of kids, in love with Jesus, loves his word, and really unpacks it in a way that I find extremely rich and gifted. And she was talking recently about this plague of narcissism. She's spoken on this many a times, but she does so in such a distilled and concise way, but she says, at the root of narcissism, and most psychologists would agree with this, is a root of shame. That narcissism, by and large, is a means of cover-up. It's a bravado. It's a way of focusing on self, walking with this esteem or confidence that's really a shroud for insecurity, shame, guilt, something that's driving you that's causing you a need to promote yourself, be consumed with yourself, but at the end of the day, really protect yourself. It's much like we've talked about the bull and the
China shop.
That's good. You're quick. The bull and the in the Spanish ring.
The matador.
Matador. I was calling it the pompadour. That's
my hairstyle.
The bull and the matador. When the bull is standing there looking at the matador and it begins to sort of flare its nostrils and grunt and kick up dust, many times that's perceived as a form of aggression. That's not aggression. Actually, it's insecurity. The insecurity is causing, he likes to create a cloud of dust and smoke between him and the matador because he's fearful. And so what he displays his fear in is aggression and some would perceive confidence. That's what narcissism does. Narcissism is the personification of I love myself when in fact it's rooted in a hatred for self. It's rooted in a shame, a guilt, an insecurity of oneself. And so it's just a masquerade. I say that because I think vanity is another form, or narcissism that displays itself as vanity is many times a means or a way of really trying to cover up how insecure or how unworthy or guilty or shameful we feel.
Yeah.
At its root, and I know that we all struggle with vanity in some way, shape, or form. I know there's listeners and viewers that would say, "Nah, that's not my battleground." Okay. I'll make a concession for this moment.
Yeah. For now.
But at the end of the day, I think the reason that we culturally, and I think you said rightly, we're just more aware of it now, but it doesn't predicate itself on a particular culture or era. But we've promoted it so much that now younger generations are buying into it and drinking the Kool-Aid, that vanity is a good thing. At its root cause, it's because we have totally disregarded the fact that we are image bearers of God, created by him, for him, and that we do have a God-given worth and value and identity, that because we have so disregarded that, we're left on our own to promote ourselves, really advertise ourselves, love ourselves, all of this type of stuff that then plays out in the form of vanity.
Yeah. It's like a false love, though.
It's a total false love. It's a total false love because you're looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Now, hey, would you say, Beck, and I want you to weigh in on this,
Okay.
that I understand that when it comes to social media, and I don't want to linger long on this, but I just recently read a book. That's a very culturally celebrated book, but I wanted to read it just to see is there nuggets in it. But it's called The 44 Laws of Peace. It's a very quick little read. It's just nuggets, 44 in total, that really just provide you these little thoughts of, listen more, say less, little things like that. Wherein this guy said, just because you can doesn't mean you should, and he spoke specifically to social media. He made the claim that anytime, I think it's very simple, anytime you post on social media, it's to garner attention. Would you say that's yes or no? Yay or nay?
That's a great question.
Yeah, isn't it?
'Cause I'm like thinking about my own
He
post.
made the blunt. Anytime you post,
No, I disagree.
Okay, tell me why.
Because I think that you can rightfully celebrate things.
Right.
If you want to consider that a form of attention, okay. But let's say Asher just celebrated a birthday or
Sure.
something like that, and you're very proud of the young man that he's growing into being, that he is,
Yep.
things that he's accomplished, etc. I think it's right for you if you want to, demonstrate, this is my son and I'm proud of him. Yeah, that's a form of attention, but I don't think that's like a self-seeking thing. Also,
I didn't say any of that, though. Notice I didn't say any of that. I didn't say self-seeking or conceited.
okay,
I just said it's a
form of attention.
it's a form of garnering attention. I think you just, I think.
So is any form of communication then. So that feels like an unnecessary statement if you're not including those other aspects.
Wouldn't you say that there are some forms of communication that's strictly for information? Like I'm communicating to you to inform you of something.
But that's attention, though. You want
yeah.
attention for the information.
Because you could post that on social media. Hey,
Right.
we've got services coming up at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m.
And you are right. That is for attention. I think,
It's the motive behind it. It's
Right.
not the mechanism itself.
totally. And I think the thing with social media that's caused that's actually, we're going down a rabbit hole here, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But
They like it when we disagree a little bit.
Amen. And I'm not disagreeing. What I'm
Oh,
saying
yes,
is,
you are.
and you will. What I'm saying is social media, his statement sent me on my own sort of rabbit trail where I realized it's that mechanic, it's that tool, it's that thing that's caused us to garner attention because we're not discerning enough or self-aware enough to even discern our own motives.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that are now intoxicated by attention, they are blind to their own sense of vanity and need for it. This is
Yeah.
why we're addicted to it.
Yeah.
And so that thing in and of itself has created all the more vanity that we're experiencing. It's now, you don't post unless you are trying to get people to look at you, whether it's for right cause or bad cause.
Right.
It is still look at me. And we have lost the thing, to your point about TikTok. Like when Hannah shows it to you, you go, like Asher showed me something last night at the dining table, and I was like, I can't believe that chick set that camera
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
recorded that, and then decided at the end, fire away.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Where was she? What was the thought? She didn't have a thought.
Right.
She just thought, this will get me attention.
Yeah.
What's like that dopamine hit they want?
It's
You
a
know what I
dopamine.
mean? That's what they're looking for.
So now so that has created one means of vanity. What say you about that?
You noticed my. That's all that was. No, I just think that there's a spectrum. Like you've got the people, the TikTok people, who are posting crazy stuff like that, and it's very evidently attention grabbing.
Right.
Look at me, etc.
Sure.
But you posting a photo of you and Ruth after celebrating an anniversary or whatever, like I love this lady.
Yeah.
That's not the same. You know what I mean? So I don't want to. Unless
Unless he's doing it for
tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yeah, I think,
I think you're celebrating, you're expressing gratitude.
Amen.
God has blessed me with this woman for so many years, and I want to share that gratitude with people.
You
That's
are
not
right.
the same thing.
You are right. I think, I don't disagree. I think that's pure.
But I think I will say,
Yeah, come on.
I will say, and you and I have talked about this before, of
Yeah.
my own tendency on social media and my aversion to it sometimes because I can't weigh out my own motives sometimes.
That's it, man.
So that I will say a post as seemingly innocent as you and Ruth, whatever, could be corrupted through the lens of look at me. But it
Totally.
doesn't have to be, is all I'm trying to say.
And I think it often is. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm not talking about me personally.
Yeah.
I think through every post, and even hey, let's just do the daggone thing.
Go for it.
There are times that I'll post, and it's for look at me. Look at me, or look at where I don't want to go too deep.
Careful.
Yeah, right.
Look at how
Watch yourself.
successful and handsome I am. I'll say
Look at how full my hair is because of him. Yes, and I think that all feeds the monster of vanity. And now we have an easy way, and we get to disguise it, because it could be like I'm just loving on my girl, but really what I'm after is likes.
Yeah.
Really what I'm after is views. It doesn't even matter if Ruth's in the picture,
No, that's the thing. Okay, here we go.
That's where we go, and that is what so I get cynical when I look at somebody's.
Because you'll see people, and they've made memes about this, but it's like you'll have this elaborate Mother's Day or Father's Day like post of a picture of you and your mom, and this super long caption. They don't have an Instagram, so the question is that for them or is that for you?
Well said. That's right, Connor. You feeling that? I'm feeling that. Amen. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah,
Yes.
right motive can get muddy.
And we're really distorted in our motives now.
Yeah.
That's it. So, okay. So we just went down the rabbit hole of social media, but now we're into a whole nother thing. Now, this is new to our culture, and that is I'm going to call it the augmentation
Oh.
of our physical appearance. This is vanity on another level, but vanity nonetheless. Maybe it's on the same playing field, depending on, your portfolio. But if you got the liberty to do it, this has gotten completely carried away. Beck, what were we talking? We were talking about just now. Like how right now, I was listening to a doctor recently talk about we're just now starting to determine the effects of vaping. Yeah, see, we didn't know. Nobody knew. I mean, hey, it was nicotine, it was Winston's, it was Marlboro's, it was, Newport. Okay, we knew what pulling on a cigarette did. Hey, it broke you and it gave you lung cancer. But now that you got this liquid form, what's really happening there? Now we're starting to actually determine, that liquid form of nicotine, even THC, the whole 9 yards, it's creating what are called like these lung pockets. It's like little, they're like almost like little gel sort of balls.
Ew.
gosh.
Yeah. It's foul. It's foul. But nobody knew. Because interesting enough, it was showing in the early years like that this wasn't coating your lungs like a standard cigarette was. So if you recall, back in the day when all of this was coming out, it was actually said vaping is better for you than smoking. People are actually saying that. Now they're like, hey, dude, this is bad. Lungs are collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, whole 9 yards. So that's because everything is being innovated so fast and all this new stuff's coming online, it's like vaping. We didn't know when it came to Botox.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Botox.
We were talking about Botox. Now people are winding up with what's called pillow face.
Pillow face, yeah.
That sounds
the
like-
filler's not going anywhere. So it's like building
Back,
up.
break it down.
Yeah, basically it's like the filler that they put in is not going anywhere, so your face is getting puffier and puffier.
because it was thought that the Botox would dissolve,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's not
It's
dissolving.
not a good look.
It's hardening.
Yes.
They're turning into fossils.
Totally.
Pillowface sounds like a funny nickname you'd get in junior high.
Yeah, totally.
Pillowface, get over here.
Oh gosh.
Check this out. Let me give some stats as it pertains to
Stat that.
this
Hit us.
phenomenon we're in. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the ASPS, reported that in 2021, there were about 4.4 million Botox procedures and 3.4 million dermal filler procedures performed. That was in 2021. American women spend about $3,756 per year, doesn't seem that bad, on beauty products and services, according to a survey by Skin Store. In May of 2024, a survey found that about 1 in 8 U.S. adults have taken Ozempic or other GLP-1 drug like Mounjaro at some point in their life. Plastic reconstructive surgery reported that 1 in 10 patients who undergo cosmetic procedures experience long-term regret. And a study in plastic and reconstructive surgery found that patients influenced by social media were more likely to have unrealistic expectations, leading to higher incidence of regret. These surveys are just now starting to sort of come out where we're able to sort of build a metric and an understanding. Wait a minute, is this? But what's happening is, regardless, there's a groundswell growing where Botox is much more accessible now. People are much more prone to see that it's not so, there's no stigma around, plastic surgery, and that it's been, and that a lot more, and the age range of people that are going into med spas, plastic surgery office, reconstructive surgery is growing younger and younger and younger, even in the teenage years.
What?
Yep. Even in the teenage years. Yes. So all of that
That's shocking.
is around because we have cultivated that vanity is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would say the dollar figure didn't surprise me that much.
Yeah, the 3,700.
I mean, that's a lot of money. But
Yeah, spend that on him.
but when it says, beauty products and services, I have to imagine that's like getting your nails done and
getting your
hair done. Like, that's not cheap.
Right.
Not that I would know.
I'm sorry, I just saw this here.
Okay,
Hang
yeah.
on. Can I see what it says on that?
Blueberry, if you want it.
Who wrote that?
That was Bet.
I was hoping it was the Duncan crew.
No.
That's not.
Okay. What do you think about Ozempic? Now that you've just
Now that you're eating a donut.
eating a donut, good heavens. Could this be more like, didn't you just start this by saying, I've cut out all this?
Yeah.
I know, but
cut
I'm
out
really
sugar.
hungry now. It's just one donut. I'm going to walk it off.
That's true.
That's true. Thanks, Bobby. Good
We can
partner.
go for a walk after this.
I don't have a lot to say about Ozempic.
Yeah.
I get it. I get that
I don't know much about it. It's fairly new, right?
it's fairly
Yeah.
new.
I
Beck,
don't
I'd like for you to weigh in on this because you and I have had conversations surrounding this. This is what I will say. As
Yeah.
I get older and I'm in the gym,
He eats a donut.
more and more, what I've come to realize is that it's harder for me to lose weight.
What contributes to that, do you think?
I'm serious. And it's not because of this donut.
Yes,
I know.
it is.
It is not.
He's
It
a
is not.
terrible eater. So let's move on.
I mean, it's harder to tone. It's harder to build muscle. And I'm doing work, Connor. I don't want to see you over there laughing. I'm in the gym. I'm working out. I'm doing the dang thing. I might have a donut every once in a while. That's my prerogative.
Okay.
I'm a grown man. But so when it comes to this matter of Ozempic and people that have struggled to lose weight, I sort of get it. I get it. Hey, but I also see the abuse in it.
Yeah.
And I see that some people have gone on it and it looks terrible on them. Some people are better with a little weight on them. They look better. Like, have you seen Ozempic neck?
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
It's
No.
a terrible look.
Yeah. I think it's so early, we don't know the effects of it. I think some people that are using it actually for health reasons, maybe it's good for them, but again, it's so early, we don't know what long term is going to look like.
Absolutely.
And that's the risk you take, right? With any vanity procedure, filler, whatever you've got, that's the risk you're going to take. You don't know, and you have to be okay with the results afterwards.
Totally.
So
Totally.
I just know, like, I was reading, as you were reading the statistics, like 65% of people regret what they do after they do it. So that's a huge amount because we're being influenced, and mainly through social media,
100%.
to do these changes. So it just is like, it all becomes about us and not, I don't know, what we're supposed to be doing.
You're so right, Beck. And I think one of the telltales of vanity and the abuse therein that we're experiencing is that vanity can become so all-consuming that you lose your social EQ starts to dampen, it appears, and your self-awareness seemingly starts to wane because a lot of people that follow through with these procedures, they got good cause for regret because they've overdone it and they didn't have a brother or sister's keeper that told them, you got to pull up. That's not, you don't look right.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Well, it's too late at that point.
100%. So now they're left with this look because they actually got in this myopic echo chamber of this is normal. This is right. This is advocated. This is on social media. This could turn out this way. It makes that because as the statistics showed, it's never what was advertised. And so you wind up looking like, you know.
Well, then you got the other side, right, where they make more money off of you because now you're botched. Like,
Hey.
so it's
Got to
like,
come back for additional procedures.
100%.
Right,
I mean, this whole
right.
TV reality
they're not gonna
shows.
tell you the truth, essentially, right? They're making money off of you. So it's like, oh my gosh, we
Absolutely.
really lost it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that could be applied to a lot of different areas of
Oh,
life.
yeah, absolutely.
That'll preach. Go ahead. Go ahead, Pastor.
Maybe another time.
Okay.
Okay, so the one thing I do want to set this set the stage for is the difference between vanity and stewardship. And we talked about that a lot, and I don't want to be, what's the expression? A broken
Record?
broken record. That's it. That's an outdated analogy at this point, isn't it? What's a record? But just because you're in the gym, or just because you get a nice haircut, or want to wear, a good outfit, you're a fashion forward guy, as we've discussed quite a bit on this podcast. That's not necessarily vain, So where is that line, I suppose? And how can people be aware that they're crossing into it?
Yeah. Great question, buddy. Fabulous question. Best question yet.
Oh,
Best question you've ever asked.
And yet I really don't have an answer for it because I think that requires a self-awareness and a self-honesty. I think so case in point. So let me apply this personally. I do care very much how I look. I care how I dress. I care, I look at myself occasionally and think, oh, come on, Sammy, you're putting weight on. Pasta is showing, big dog. As I age, I'm very conscious of that. I don't want to look like I'm trying too hard as I age, yet because I feel young at heart. So all of this is in my calculus.
Yeah.
All of this bangs around. But yet, I'm very aware that I cannot find my value in how I appear or my identity in how I look. My value and my identity is rooted in who Jesus says that I am, that I'm a blood-bought son, that God has redeemed me, He's saved me, He's put my feet on a solid rock. Come on, somebody. And yet, that is the bedrock within me. But yet, I don't find any fault in me being conscious or even intentional about how I look. It's when, here's the reality. It's when my thoughts are more fixed on my appearance than in the one that actually defines and identifies me, that's when the thing gets all out of whack. And so for me, it's a conscious inventory of how much of this drives you.
Yeah.
How much of this it causes insecurity within you? And I got to wrestle through that. And I'm not going to feed that monster of you could do a little of this and you could do a little of that. And hey, as you get older, you can get a little dye here, little Botox there. Oh, for me personally, that would end badly. I don't want that. I don't want that because that's an insatiable monster that I'm not going to feed because once I give him, you're just like my dog Sawyer. You think if he pulls up to you at the table, you give him a little snack of bacon.
It's never enough.
He'll go away and tell you thank you. Nope.
Thank you so much, sir.
He didn't even taste the bacon. and then he's staring at you.
Next.
I feel like that is for me what vanity does. It's insatiable. So for me, I steer clear of it. And so that's a person by person. I got a major issue when it comes to plastic surgery. I think there's a real beauty in aging gracefully. You know what it screams to me? A person's comfy in their skin. They are not trying to live in yesteryear. They're not trying to hang on with what's gone. For me, that's a bad look. That's just for me. So I'm not going to demonize somebody that does it. I'm just going to look down on them. So, JK, I'm just joking, Connor. Stop. No, that's just for them. For me, I can't do that. Let me just be honest. I'm going to speak to the men.
Uh-oh.
I think men, I think that this is largely promoted big time in feminine circles. This augmentation, this plastic surgery, it started there and now it's breached into men of where it's eroded masculinity and a biblical masculinity. And I think men are as prone to vanity as it doesn't discriminate according to gender. But men, it is a terrible, terrible look when men are resistant to age gracefully. You know, Scripture says that a silver-headed man, their hair is considered their crown, if they walk in the way of righteousness. I think it's a real beauty when you see an older man that's tried and true, lived his life, has raised his family, stayed with his wife, worked hard, made some money. He's able to sit in the cut with a comfortability, and he's not trying to hang on to his high school, college years. That's a terrible, terrible look. I don't care what you say. Nobody will ever sell me on, oh, well, you can get plastic surgery so it looks like you weren't tampered with. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I think it speaks volumes about the insecurity of somebody that thinks that their value is found in how they look. Women, to another degree, I give more margin. But I just think that vanity is subtle. It happens subtly and then suddenly.
Oh.
That's a Chesterton. That's GK. Poverty comes on you subtly and then suddenly.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens. And so that's why I think Scripture, even Solomon said, vanity, vanity, says the teacher, utterly vanity. Everything is vanity. This was Solomon's way of saying there is very few things on this side of glory that have real meaning. Actually, the thing that has meaning is, do you know the creator of heaven and earth, and does he know you? Do you walk in the identity that he's provided you and in the safety, security, and protection that he offers you as he covers you, as he knows you, as he's the one that wants to promote you, give purpose to you? That is what has meaning. Everything else is a cheap substitute to try to circumvent that. Let me read you something by Spurgeon.
Ooh.
My man, Charles Spurgeon, says, vanity is the opposite of true humility. It is the inflated ego that seeks to elevate itself above others while true humility seeks to serve and honor God.
Yep.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that verse, that quote, anything that talks about humility always makes me think of the quote by C.S. Lewis, which we've mentioned on this podcast before, of true humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. And so that's in the context of how you look, how you appear, whatever. I'll say personally, as I was thinking through my own opinion about this topic, because I do think that there's a balance to be struck.
Amen.
Especially as a man, I feel like I do have a responsibility to be take care of myself and to be strong and to be respectable in certain ways.
Totally.
Still working on that, obviously. But, I think when it comes to vanity is the line where it's the insecurity in your head that prohibits you from seeing yourself rightly, like what you said about being made in the image of God and having inherent value for that reason. Also, if it inhibits your ability to do what he's called you to do. Let me define that for a second.
It's good.
Hannah and I recently did our engagement photos. I don't know, you might have seen on Instagram. It was an attention grab.
It's good.
Oh, I did see those. Asher showed me, actually.
Incredible.
Did you see these, Dad?
Did you see how vain Boots was?
He is ugly.
Why? Those were great. They were great pics.
They were great photos.
They
Well,
were.
thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out
Okay.
to Molly. Very talented.
Molly who?
Don't know her last name. Our photographer.
Great Boots.
That was
Yeah.
our one moment.
Yeah, I know. She's not listening. It's okay.
She's listening like.
Yeah. But to tell on myself here, as Hannah and I were reviewing the little sneak peek selection, she was really excited to show me, and I was excited to see them. But my primary response in looking through the photos was, I don't like how I look here. I don't like the look of my hair here. I feel like I look skinny here. And what that did, that was an overemphasis, thinking more of yourself, an overemphasis on my appearance to the neglect of my ability to share in a moment with Hannah and to celebrate
good,
something
buddy.
special. So when your overemphasis on your appearance or whatever hinders your ability to see yourself properly or love someone well, that's a problem. So that for
Great
me,
analogy.
that was a clear example of it's okay to care. You want good pictures, obviously, but you took it too far. It's when that line has crossed, and I think we all, to your point, it's not a super clear line, but it's a personal inventory of, okay, what are the things that I'm really focusing on? What am I overemphasizing? And am I giving proper attention to what needs attention right now?
That's really good. Can't say it any better than that. That's a mic drop. So it does boil down. It boils down to a personal matter, but in order for you to really get it, you really got to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
How consumed are you with your appearance? How consumed are you with the attention that you're garnering or that you're seeking? And what is driving your need for that attention? I think this is a good landing spot, but here's the reality. Here's my concern, holistically. We're doing good on time. Here's my concern holistically. I think that what's really lacking culturally, and I hate doing this because I feel the older I get, the more that I can tend to do what I'm getting ready to do. But it's almost like I'm compelled to do it because I try to find, like, I like to oversimplify because that's really cathartic for me and it helps me. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I feel like I can so quickly broad brush or be a reductionist that's not helpful. So I'd say that to just create margin for what I'm getting ready to say. I didn't probably need to say all that. Here's the reality. I think that we are a very unwise culture. We're just not operating in wisdom. We just operate according to emotion and impulse. We operate according because somebody said it's a good idea, so now we grandstand it and then we try to sort of push it on, public consumption. And people are, because we can tend to be like sheep, we just devour whatever's put before us. So hey, if it's plastic surgery, if it's injecting yourself with gels and glues, and hey, if it's old men that are trying to look like they're 25 years younger, if it's putting your whole life on blast on social media, we've just grown accustomed to just walking along and doing all these things. And I'm just skimming wave tops of a billion other things that we do culturally. The reason that we're not wise is because fundamentally we don't fear God. We just don't, we don't regard him. We don't revere him. We don't even really care about him. We just want what we want. And so we go through these things. And so you and I, we are left from week to week to sort of drill down on these little issues, topics, matters, and really unpack, is this good or is this bad? And it's just two people's opinion, but we try to derive that opinion from Scripture. The reality is that what we do culturally is unwise because we don't fear God. And here's the problem with not fearing God. Again, Jackie Hill Perry recently said, if you do not find yourself enamored with the nature and the grandeur and the majesty and the theology of the creator of heaven and earth, when you are told that you are created in his image, you won't even be moved by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Care less. You just go, I don't care. I don't care. It's not because your heart is so callous. It's because that, along with, we don't even understand God.
Yeah.
So all we're left to do is sow into ourselves. What a terrible, exhausting, unfulfilling way to live. Because I don't find anybody that does it truly satisfied or content. And if you pull on the sweater string all the way back to why are we so vain and foolish and attention-seeking and needy and insecure and wanting, it's because fundamentally we don't understand God. So we don't understand ourselves. So we're just left like sheep to wander and try anything and everything to satisfy this craving soul. I know that sounds really grand and really reduced. And that's why I put the caveat on the front end. But at the end of the day, if your identity isn't rooted in Jesus and you are grateful for it, well, then vanity's all you got. Get into it.
You're just a sheep with pillow face.
In summary,
Yeah.
we should call this episode Pillow Face.
Yeah. Oh, man. They'd be so confused.
Totally. But we'll unpack it on the front end.
Yeah.
All right.
And to close, I feel like one quote that you've mentioned from your father that I feel like is really applicable is when he said, if you take yourself too serious, no one else will.
Well, totally.
And that's the same thing when it comes to vanities.
Come on.
You take yourself so seriously that, like for me, you won't even allow yourself to be photographed at times. Like, get over yourself.
Amen.
This has been a fun discussion. A little bit of disagreement at times.
I love
Becca
disagreement.
chimed in a lot. That was good.
Hey, Connor chimed in.
That's
Explain who Connor is. They don't know.
Oh, Boots.
introduce him.
Connor has become sort of the behind the scenes. We're going to get him in front of the scenes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's coming. He's got great hair.
Yeah, we'll do a hair episode.
But he is, along with Mike, post and pre-production. So cameras, audio, videography. I said that right.
Yeah.
Videography. Yeah. Typically I go video. I say something else.
Yeah. You said it right.
Videography.
Videography.
But anyway, he's going to change the game. And
The team's growing.
the team
Yeah,
is growing.
watch out.
Come grow with us.
Exactly.
We're lucky to have you, Connor.
That's right.
And we're lucky to have you listening or watching
Let's see what you did
at
there.
home. Yep. Excellent segue, right? Let us know what you think about this episode by leaving a comment or something similar, perhaps a review, either on
Ooh.
Spotify or Apple. Check us out on Instagram at Simplexity Podcast.
Love you guys.